Power to the truth. I want to entitle this video Character Defects. I know that it cannot cover all of this subject. It's a heavy subject. It's taken a while for me to get to the point to be able to even give expression about it, because it runs deep, at least to me. I'm a recovered dope fiend, and with now years sobriety, thus I've gone to a zillion AA, NA meetings. I work with a group called CASA at the local Salvation Army emergency shelter, aka Sally's. We call it Sally's. So I'm aware of the 12 steps and all that, you know, where it talks about having God help us get rid of character defects. So this is not a recovery video. This is about character defects in general, which include greed. Greed may be the primary character defect of man. Greed for oil, greed for land, greed that comes out of our own internal fears of running out, there not being enough. And the greed for more, the greed for profits. In general, greed is destroying us. You know, wars are fought over greed. People kill over greed. People cheat and steal over greed. There are other character defects, including jealousy, sloth or laziness, you know, lust, L-U-S-T, when a man looks at a woman as a piece of ASS, instead of looking at a woman in all her beauty, you know, or looking at a man in all his beauty. And false pride, you know, instead of having a healthy ego, people get what Jung called inflated ego. So you can think in general about the 7 deadly sins. I'll include a link in the description below. And there are some YouTube videos you can check out. You know, search for yourself, search and research. The question here, or the problem, is that many people think of recovery groups as something not involving them because they're not suffering from any kind of addiction. Yet there are many addictions, including the addiction to consuming, you know, consumerism. You know, so I primarily want to focus here on the character defect of greed. And we can ask, what is character? To me, a character is how a person is, the core character of their personality. Is that person fair? Is that person just? Is that person wise? Is that person good? So character involves the values that we possess in our personality. Like how Martin Luther King talked about, judging a man by the content of his character, not the color of his skin. So it's important to understand here that these character defects can have implications, consequences, repercussions on a global level. For example, when Germany lost in World War I, suffered defeat, the German people's psyche was injured by that. So along comes this maniac named Hitler, who made great speeches like Obama does, and fed that German ego and galvanized the German people into the whole German Nazi era. So you need to understand the personality of Hitler to really understand, the whole dynamics that was going on. So we can look at the personality of Obama. Him being half white, half black. What kind of internal division did that create? So he sees himself primarily as an American. He wasn't raised in a ghetto. He's not your typical black African American. And so we need to understand how character defects are in people with great power, and how those character defects can affect us, especially when they're walking around with these untreated character defects. We may not ever be able to get rid of character defects completely, but at least our consciousness of them, when they pop up, or when there's an external pressure that makes them pop up, when we're conscious of that potential for a manifestation of a character defect, at least we can check it. So there's my greed operating, or there's my lust operating, or there's my jealousy operating. So we can check it. So we're not trying for perfection here. We're just trying for progress. At least I am. I want to progress every day. I want to become more and more of a better man, more and more of a better humane being. So in harmony with that, I stay conscious of any manifestation of character defects, and I distinguish character defects from shortcomings. In a way, from a legal perspective, to help you understand a little better, look at a character defect as a felony. a serious sin. And for example, to me, racism is a character defect. racism. When we think that we're superior to someone else because of us being one race and someone else being another race. When at the root of racism is a character defect, and at the root of it is poor, low or no self-esteem. Self-esteem. E-S-T-E-E-M, esteem. When you have high self-esteem, you have no need to feel superior over anyone else. You respect humane rights, you respect that we're all of the family of humanity. So, as we live our lives on a day-to-day basis, we must be conscious of the potential for us having character defects. And as I say, the major one is greed. When we never have enough, we always want more. And so, in terms of global corporate fascism, it is the core character defect of greed that motivates the bankers. Greed motivates the corporate ruling class. And it motivates many of the people who have incorporated that character defect into their psyche. Where we never have enough. Where we want to have our shadow and have our shadow be on everyone else's plate too. So we need to combat character defects. Be aware of them and how they operate in our lives, and see the big picture, how many times what our governmental policies are actually manifestations of character defects. Check it out. We live in connected reality. One's personal opinion can be blown up out of proportion and become public policy. So all these issues are interconnected. There is no isolated, separate issue that doesn't affect us in one way or another, to one degree or another. So we need to check our greed. We need to be aware of people's motives and be cynical in a clever way. Many people use words and they have different meanings to them. So I look at being cynical as being questioning people's motives. Cynical is not senile. There's a difference. Cynical is wondering, what's in it for that guy? What does he really want out of me? Where is he really going with this? So that you don't walk around stupid and naive and become gullible. Where we get so stupid, like, well, the president said this or that, so the president said that, it must be right. So where you question authority, you question insanity. If something doesn't feel right in your gut, something doesn't ring true, you question that. analytical mind where you analyze, where you weigh. You know, use your prefrontal brain. Use your brain. Train your brain. And be aware that these character defects manifest in our lives in ways that we may not be fully conscious of. So we need to have an open mind. It doesn't mean you're so open where you believe any trash that goes in. And watch out for experts. Watch out for people with a bunch of big letters after their name. Many people are motivated by their greed for money. You know, so they write a bunch of books, and we figure, oh, he wrote a bunch of books, so he must be smart. You know, when you got to look at the value of what someone creates. You know, the intrinsic value of it, and be open to learning from anyone that can help you, learning from anyone that can educate you. That could just be a poor homeless wino on the corner, or it could be a college professor. You know, but when you're open to receiving the truth has a ring to it. It just sounds true. You know, we need to accept that truth, yet not be frozen in our beliefs. So, I believe that character defects are major obstacles to our coming together. If humanity does not check its character defects, the character defects may be the root cause of our extinction as a species. Meditate on that. Thank you for your time and attention. Continue to be conscious. Do a personal daily inventory. You know, and investigate before you judge. And just try to be in harmony with nature, in harmony with your own nature. And not confuse your true nature with what has been conditioned into your psyche. Namaste.